Hello everyone, and I hope that you are all doing well. And welcome to our webinar that is made as a fulfillment requirement of professional communication class supervised by Dr. Abdurrahim Agnaw at Al Akhawain University. My name is Rim Ratiqi, and I'm going to be today's moderator. And in this of this webinar, in which we will talk about time management in the workplace. So when we talk about time management, we refer to a process of organizing and planning how to divide the time we have during the day based on specific activities and tasks we need to perform while being able to give each activity the right amount of time in order to increase the effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity of what we are doing. So the concept of time management is present in every aspect of our life. In the professional world, time is very valuable. And as Benjamin Franklin once said, time is money. So knowing how to manage it is very important. Learning how to manage time is something that sounds easy at first, but if not done correctly, it might develop like certain negative habits within the person, which can have a bad effect on the quality of one's performance. So in this webinar, we will tackle 4 main points related to time management in the workplace to help you understand the concept with our 4 guest speakers, Mr. Mehdi Jawadi, Ms. Salma Idahamou, and Ms. Abir Sharif Abdelhadi, and Mr. Sharafdin Shajai. First of all, we will start with the common issues that people face with the time management in the workplace, and it will be discussed by Mr. Mehdi Jawadi. Then we will move to talk about the importance of time management and the value of time management in the workplace with Ms. Salma Idahamou. Third of all, we will talk about the different tips that can be used to manage time better, as well as the barriers of time management with Ms. Abir Sharif Abdelhadi. And last but not least, we will get to know how to establish time-efficient lifestyle with Mr. Sharafdin Shajai. Now we will give the word to our first guest speaker, Mr. Mehdi Ejawadi.
So, hello everybody, hope you are doing well and you're having a great day. So, as Miriam said, my name is Mehdi Jawadi and I am a business student at Al Akhawain University. Today, I will be talking about some common issues and problems in time management. So, please, if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat and I will answer them gladly. So, the first common problem in time management will be failing to prioritize. It is identifying your highest priority duties when it can be challenging as most of your tasks demands the same degree of commitment. Example I can give is like, for example, you just started working on a high priority mission and you're brainstorming some clever ideas with your team. When one of your team just takes your concentration by finding out that you need to refocus on an urgent topic that just come up. You need to be aware of this kind of scenarios is inevitable, and there will be still sometimes unexpected events that you will have to cope with it. So learning how to prioritize is a practice, and you should require time and expertise to discover the most effective strategies. That is the one that works the better for you. There are methods like Action Priority Matrix or Google Keep to prioritize and manage a start level of efficiency. Moving to the second problem, it will be starting your day late. So all your attempts to smoothly complete your everyday duty, no matter how difficult they are, will fail miserably if you don't start your day early. Both the great visionary and the most powerful politicians have one thing in common. They wake up early, do their high-value assignments, and starting your day late will create a domino effect. Any of your duties will have to be scheduled and will feel hurried all the day. The third problem is ineffectively scheduling tasks. Our productivity levels vary not only from day-to-day tasks, depending on a variety of reasons, but also from a person to a person. Some individuals are the height of their effectiveness when they just open their eyes in the morning, and others appear to show their full reliability as soon as the sun sets. The best way to balance your schedule is to figure out what your peak time is and devote the time for top priority jobs instead of extending it to less critical, monotonous activities. The fourth common problem is procrastination. Procrastinating is potentially the worst enemy of everyone. There is nothing more damaging to your focus and actual ability than going around in circles and finding reasons not to get down to serious work. Not only does it wield a massive backlog, but it also makes you feel bad for not starting your job, mainly if it's urgent. The easiest way to not procrastinate is to devote a small amount of time to start the mission. This will stimulate your creativity, attract your attention, and soon you will be fully engaged in the project. If it doesn't succeed, aim to divide the challenge into manageable pieces. This will also help you clock your time and leave you with a simple rundown of how much time you need to do. The fifth problem will be failing to manage numerous distractions. Although many contracts, network, and social media sites help us connect more quickly, there are also primary sources of distraction that we face both in life and business. They disturb our routine and disturb our creative process, whether it is a phone that keeps ringing or a message that you keep receiving from either chatting or social media sites. Switch off all the messages and talk. Plan interruption-free time, an hour or two, and listen the time you waste doing activity that you don't have a lot of effect on your job. The sixth problem will be undervaluing the time something will take to finish. One of the most severe mistakes that ambitious people seem to make is miscalculating the time and resources they would take to accomplish a specific mission. This behavior is a characteristic of a type of overachiever who believe they should keep things under check and never turn the chance down, no matter how demanding it is. If you have the same illness or a successful consultant like Kimberly Medlock has a cure, she advises you to write down the amount of time you need to finish each task of your activities on your do list. It also proposes doubling the time. For example, if we have a job that it will take normally 20 minutes, book a 40 minutes for it so that you can feel safe. Even if something happens, you still have the time. Actually, the double of the time. So before moving to the next slides, please, if you have any questions, as I said before, write it down in the chat and I will do my best to answer you. Next slide, please. The seventh common problem about time management is striving to become proficient at what we do. We usually slide into a multitasking vortex. Theoretically, multitasking is possible if you have to get to the top of your workload. However, jungling many things at the same time keeps you from working on all your tasks equally, which takes a lot of time than doing your task in a series. In other words, if you want to be excellent at multitasking, you need to be a super organized and achieve a high degree of discipline, imaginations, and accuracy. In the end, multitasking is not for everyone, so pick your fight wisely. Whenever conditions permit, forget about multitasking and concentrate on one job at a time. This will allow you to deliver high-quality work and give you a feeling of completion. The eighth problem will be being busy versus being effective. As much as we want to remain focused on high-value jobs, we often lose track and find ourselves doing a bunch of lower priority tasks that consume our resources and time and have little or no effect at all on the ultimate result that we seek to achieve. So to stop this situation, you must first continually ask yourself, is this useful? How does it lead to the ultimate goal? If you got a few little things to deal with, consider bundling them out. For example, instead of performing one task per day, do 3 days of small tasks one afternoon. This is supposed to make you concentrate on actual real jobs. The main problem is being a perfectionist. Our whole life is a journey of learning. We face a host of challenges every time we plunge into a new project, but we also learn how to jump over them along the way. If you are supposed to aspire for the highest results, you need to bear in mind that you don't have the privilege of completing any assignments to perfection. This is going back to prioritization. Your time is minimal and you don't want to stay over time. You often have to be content with good, and don't let the enemy of good be perfect. And the final main points will be speaking on breaks. This may seem counterproductive, but it's vital to be part of the day routine to see success in the long term. For example, if you are working on an important assignment or doing any small task, putting aside some time to take a rest is simply imperative. According to the Real Community Study, our brains have not been designed to concentrate for 8 hours. The only rational option is to step away and do something that is not relevant to your career at all. For example, you can go eat or go for a fast stroll, work out, or do nothing and just relax. This should help you clear up your mind and build a more psychological momentum for the job to come. This is for my parts. Thank you, Reem, again for giving me the time to speak and share my thoughts. I will leave the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Mehdi, for the information you shared with us. And now we will give the floor to our second guest speaker, Ms. Salma Iddahamou, who will talk about the second point of our subject, which is the importance of time management.
Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well today. Thank you, Rim, for your invitation. I'm honored to be here with you, but I need to get going on time since this is a session of time management and why it is important. So, is the strategy of planning out your available time. Effective time management comes easier to some people than to others, but everyone can develop habits to improve their time management skills. Without strong time management, your work and well-being can suffer, and it can lead to producing poor quality work, missing deadlines, increasing your stress level, ruining your work-life balance, and harming your professional reputation. But why is time management so important? Time management is important because it helps you control your workday, so you can build your business without compromising your work-life balance. Another question you may ask yourself is why your life depends on time management. In fact, lack of clarity is the number one time waster. Always be asking, what am I trying to do? And how am I trying to do it? Perhaps the greatest single problem that people have today is time poverty. Working people have too much to do in too little time. Most people feel overwhelmed with responsibilities, and the harder they work, the further behind they feel. Instead of clearly deciding what you want to do, you always react to what is happening around you. Pretty soon, you lose all sense of control. Time is your most precious resource. It is the most valuable thing you have, and it cannot be saved. It can only be reallocated from activities of lower values to activities of higher value. All work requires time. The very act of taking a moment to think about your time before you spend it will begin to improve your personal time management. Many people think that time management is only a business tool or that is something that you can use to increase your productivity and eventually be paid more money. However, time management is not a peripheral activity or skill. It is the core skill on which everything else in life depends. And today I'm going to present 7 benefits of proper time management. So first, it improves your performance. When you learn to block time out of your life or out of your day for all your important tasks, you will have a better idea of everything you need to accomplish and how long each task should take. Time management can help you focus on just the essential tasks ahead of you and avoid time-consuming distractions. It produces better work. When you're not constantly racing to meet a deadline, you can put more effort and thought into your work. Time management helps you prioritize your tasks so that you ensure that you have enough time available to complete every project. The quality of your work increases when you're not rushing to complete it ahead of a fast approaching deadline. It also helps you deliver work on time. Properly managing your time involves assigning every task on your list to a specific block of time. If you properly schedule the time needed to complete your work, you'll be able to hit your deadline every time. It reduces your stress. It's easy to become anxious when you have a full list of tasks to do, both for work and for your personal life. Good time management can help you prioritize your to-do lists and set aside the time needed for your most important tasks. Prioritizing your tasks and giving yourself enough time to accomplish them can help you reduce your stress levels. It improves career opportunities. Time management can help you become a more reliable employee who always submit high-quality work by your due dates. This in turn will make you more valuable as a worker and improve your professional reputation, which can help you find new opportunities to expand your career. Good time management can boost your confidence. When you manage your time properly and successfully meet your deadlines, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment and a confidence in your abilities. Consistently finishing your daily to-do list is a huge motivator that can drive people to go further and improve their time management skills and take on new work opportunities. It also helps people to become more efficient. When you understand how to manage your time effectively, you'll become more focused at work, which allow you to accomplish more with less time available. For example, instead of trying to work on a big project, when you have 15 minutes free before a meeting, you can accomplish a few small tasks in that time and save the bigger task that requires more brain power for when you have like a large block of time. You'll be able to work more efficiently to achieve more with less time. That will be all for my part, and I'll give the floor to my class.
Thank you so much, Selma. I would like also to remind our viewers that they are free to share any question they have for our guest speakers to answer. And time management is indeed a very important skill that can highly affect the quality of one's performance. And that brings us to our third point of our subject, which is how to improve that skill. And we will get to the chance to learn about that with Ms. Abir Sharif Abdelhadi, who will give us different tips that can be used to manage time better.
Effectively. First, we should set our goals correctly, which means that when you set your goals that are achievable and measurable, we should use the SMART method. When setting goals, I mean by the SMART method, make sure that the goals you set are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Second, you should prioritize wisely your time. What I mean by prioritize wisely your time, it means that you should take your task based on the importance and urgency. For example, you look at your daily task and determine which are important and urgent, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and not urgent and not important. I will go into details and explain more about these four ways to determine a good way of how to set your time management. Third, set a time limit to complete the task, which means that certain time constraint for completing task help you to become or to be more focused and efficient. Making the small extra effort to decide on how much time you need to allow to a lot of to allow your task that also can help you to recognize your potential problems before they arise. So the way you can make plans for dealing with them. After that, you should take a break between tasks because it's important. When doing a lot of tasks without taking a break, it is harder to stay focused and motivated. So after that, organize yourself. You should utilize your calendar for more long time management, which means write down all the deadline for your project or for your tasks that are part of the completing the overall project. You should also think about the which days you may be the best to dedicate this specific task. And after that, remove the non-essential task or activities. It is important to remove the excess activities or task. What I mean by that is to determine what is significant and what you deserve what deserve your time. So removing the non-essential tasks or activities, it just frees up more your time to be spent on what is more important. So after that, the 7th point would be that plan ahead, which means that you make sure that you start every day with a clear idea of what you're gonna need to do during your day. So can you go please to the next slide? Here we have the 4 quadrant to the COVID management time matrix. What I said before, urgent and non-important, not important but not urgent but important. I'm sorry, urgent but not important, and not urgent and not important. So what is first a quadrant is non. It's the non-part of something which is divided into 4 parts. The first one is urgent and non-important. It's the Q1. And the Q1 involves the responsibility or task related to critical resource and requires our urgent attention. So the Q1, the following qualities would be impeding the deadlines, direct relation to the time-sensitive goals, and involve immediate risk. The second one would be not urgent but important. The Q2 involves focusing on activities to develop our sense of discipline and commitment. And it requires, of course, planning and planning our steps and organize our relation to our overall goals. The third one, urgent but not important. The Q3, it's urgent and assumes some form of importance in the moment. And the Q3 have some of the following qualities. The first one, interrupting productivity, distraction, and result of poor planning of the items in Q1 and Q2. And the last one would be that not urgent and not important. The tasks in Q4 are more likely able to be removed completely or reduced. And the items typically have the following qualities for this last quadrant 4. What caused the least amount of stress and not directly related to the overall or time sensitive or our sensitive goals. Now we're going to the COVID time management matrix. As you can see in our slide, we have some points. So here we have the list. First, list the tasks that you need to complete. No, here, I'm sorry, we have the COVID time management. Well, the COVID time management is the matrix management, which give us the opportunity to be more organized in our time management. And we should admit that we have always more tasks we need to do when we think. So you can simply solve this problem by identifying the time required to finish each task. Can we go to the next slide, please? Here we have how to use the COVID time management matrix. So first, you should list the task that you need to complete, include the deadlines, identifying the most urgent tasks, organize by importance, place the task in the correct quadrant, one of the 4 that we saw before, access your productivity, and can we go to the next slide? Here we have the 7 barriers of time management. So we should know that time management is not just saying or using our diary to record our task and appointments, because it is rather a set of principles, habits, skills that help you to develop your job and to be more productive. So for me, it is an art of dedicating the right amount of time to the right activity. So it is how we take the most of our time. However, these 7 barriers of time management will help you to see things differently. There are some that will make our time management not easy at all, but at the same time, these will be some challenges that we will be able to manage our time more intelligently. I'm sorry. So first, we have too many tasks on our schedule. We should admit that there are always more tasks we need to do when we think. Second, too many interruption. What I mean by too many interruption, it is the worst enemy of time management, because when you receive phone calls and schedule visit and being distracted by minor issues, at the top interruption we encounter. So working on your time management is like driving your car. You should follow your steps. Third, the lack of priority. Some tasks are more important but not urgent, so we should know how to prioritize our task. The urgent task would be on the top of our list, and then we go. So for the fourth number would be the procrastination. It is one of the most common methods of time management. So we are losing our time of now and tomorrow to be more delay on our task. Remember that that you must delay another task for another day in another list. So start working on your urgent task. I'm sorry. Start working on your urgent tasks. Think about which task you are dealing. I'm sorry. Think about which task you are delaying for tomorrow's and how you are going to compensate this time for it. The fifth point is the fear of failure, because when we are afraid of working on a specific task, two problems will occur. The first, when to tend or delay, and the second one would be we keep thinking about how we are going to deal with this task. So the last but not least, the lack of organization, because this might be the lack of organization in setting the agenda based on urgency. So the more organized you are, the more focused you become. Lack of strategic directions is the lack of any organization that can lead to centralize our working system. It can also overwhelm the employees with routine tasks. If you have any task on your list that can be done by someone else, uh, just remove it, because if there is a task that is not your priority, it means it's in the queue for, if you remember, which is not important, and you can just remove it. And the last point is unable to say no, because the lack of enough courage to say no to some tasks can present a big problem to your effective time management. So that's all. Thank you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate.
Thank you so much, Abir. And I would like to remind our viewers again that they can leave their questions in the comment section, and we will spare a few minutes at the end of our webinar to answer all those questions. And now we will move to our last point of our webinar with Mr. Sharaf Din Shajai, who will talk about how to establish a time-efficient lifestyle.
Hello everybody, good afternoon everyone. My part is about how to establish a time-efficient lifestyle, which means a lifestyle where you don't lose time, where you take opportunity of all your time and finish your goals and assignments and whatever you have to do in time. And the tips how to establish this lifestyle is to set goals correctly. First step is to set goals correctly, which means to set goals that are achievable in the time frame that you have, which means you set goals that are measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely, which means that you can measure your progress regarding how to achieve that goal. They are attainable, which means they are achievable and relevant to what you are doing and what you want to achieve in general with your life. And they are timely, which means you put deadlines and you put dates where you have to be to have either achieved the goal in general or achieved parts of the goal. Then the second tip is to prioritize wisely, which means you have to prioritize and you have to put like a list of tasks and a list of parts that you have to achieve in order to achieve your general goal, and prioritize them like from important to urgent, or from important to not important, or from mainly what I personally use to prioritize my task is to put my task list and color code it for like tasks that are important and urgent, which means that there is a need to do these tasks on the spot. And there are tasks that are also important but not urgent, which means you can have your time, you can enjoy something else, or you can do another task, but it is important to do that task in a timely manner. The third character of a task that I use is urgent but not important, which means that you have to do this task as soon as possible, but it's not that important. So you can afford to either delegate it to someone, or just do it very fast and move on. And there are tasks that are either neither urgent nor important, which means that you have to do them just because you want to, and you can set them aside until you finish all other kinds of tasks, and then get back on them when you have more free time and more extra time on hand. The third tip that I would give you is to set a time limit to complete these tasks, which means if you have like a task that you know would take from you like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to complete, you don't give it more than that. You just give it 10 or 15 minutes, which means that you have a time limit to complete that task and move on to another thing, which means that you don't waste time. For example, if you have a task that can be completed in 10 minutes and you give it 30-minute time limit, you will be like spending 20 minutes just wasting your time, just procrastinating it or doing something else that is not related to your task, which means you will be losing time and you are not time efficient in that way. The fourth like tip that I would give you, and that it is very beneficial. I've been using it like for my whole career, and my whole student curriculum in AUI, which is taking break between tasks. Which means if you have like multiple tasks to do, and they are pretty extensively working tasks, which means that you have to either write and then read chapters and then do something else, and you have multiple tasks that you have to complete by, for example, by tomorrow. You don't have to like enclose yourself in those tasks, and put yourself in a position where you are limited to only working. You have to take breaks. You have to give yourself time to breathe. You have to give yourself time to think and time to be creative and time to just like relax. For example, if you have 4 to 6 tasks, you could group them into groups of like, let's do these two and then take a break of half an hour or something like that, and then do the other two, and you go by that organizational chart until you achieve doing all your tasks without feeling burned out, because doing a lot makes people feel burned out. And the fifth tip that I would give you is to plan ahead, which means that if you are used to planning your days, like you are used to planning tomorrow like the night before, or like you're used to plan your days day by day. I like advise you to do it more consistently and more ahead. Like you plan the next week this week. Do not plan tomorrow today, because planning tomorrow today puts you in a position where you can stress, where you can forget things, where you can just plan it as you go, or just say it's not that important to plan, and I will do all that is required for me just by remember it, which is very false. The human brain cannot be a place where we gather information and let it there, because like tasks that we have to do, we tend to forget them. The humans are lazy by definition. We do not like to work a lot. We do not like to spend a lot of time on tasks that are very enforced on us. Therefore, planning helps a lot, because when you put something into writing, when you perform tasks that you have written in your task list, you have that satisfaction of crossing them out. Crossing your tasks out from your task list is very satisfying, because you know that you've done it. You know that you've spent your time and energy doing that task, and you have not wasted any time. So when crossing it out, you feel satisfied, and you have a dopamine rush that helps you like keep your work ethic and keep your work up. And I guess these are the tips that I use the most. And they help me a lot in performing my tasks and keeping my schedule organized. And I wish they could be helpful for you. And this is the last part of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah, for the information you shared with us and the tips you shared about how to manage our time better. And now we will answer the questions of some of our viewers. And our first question goes to Ms. Salma Dahamou. Why do you think it's important to manage your time well?
Well, thank you, Hamza, for your question. So, if we speak about the professional side, showing your ability to manage your time can make you a more appealing candidate for a job. Showing your boss or manager how valuable time management is to you and explaining how you believe it benefits you may help you in your career. But personally, time management is important because it impacts my productivity and ability to complete my tasks at work. Without good time management skills, it would be impossible for me to meet deadlines and complete my project. But to answer your question and to be more precise, I'm gonna tell you why it is important for you to. It's important to manage your time to waste less time on travel or like an important thing to be punctual, to create the conditions for creative work, for healthy work-life balance, so your work is preserved in an orderly way as opposed to randomly reacting to whatever shouts the loudest, and so you know what matters to do it as effectively and efficiently as possible. And that's all.
Thank you so much, Selma, for your answer. And now we will move to another question, this time for Mr. El Mahdi. And the question is, what is the most common issue, within the time management? How to deal with that issue? We can hear you.
And can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so as I said, thank you, Mr. Bilal, for your question. And to answer it, it's an easy answer. It is about procrastination. Procrastinating is one of the most common issues within time management. According to a study done in, I think, 2020 in the UK, only 15.6% of people claim that they never procrastinate. In other words, more than 84% of the population has experienced or putting all of this important must-to-do task. Let's just agree that many of us just procrastinate because they have more time and they want to just relax and do the stuff that they like. So how to deal with that issue? It's the easiest way to not procrastinate is to devote a small amount of time to start the mission. This will stimulate your creativity, attract your attention, and soon you will be fully engaged in the project. I hope I answered your question, Bilal. And if you have any other questions, please write them down.
Thank you so much, Mehdi, for your answer. And we have another question again for Ms. Selma. And it is, how do you know that what you're doing is a good use of your time?
Okay, well, thank you for your question. I know what I'm doing is a good use of time by constantly asking myself some questions like, am I working on the highest value task right now in relation to my role? Is what I'm doing in line with the organizational purpose, goals, and values, or like for my work or studies? Have I planned to do it, or like am I just reacting to something or something happening around me? It do the job, like it's like a checklist for me. That's all.
Okay,
I
thank
hope
you.
I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Salma. And now we have a question, this time for our guest speaker, Abir. And it is, what do you mean by set a time limit to complete a task? Abir, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Well, to respond to this question, I mean what I meant by setting a time is setting time constraint for completing tasks helps you to be more focused and efficient, making the small extra efforts to decide on how much time you need to each part of your work or assignment or extra points, or I don't know, any kind of work. You can also help you to recognize your potential problems before they arise. What I mean by that is the way you can plan for how you can plan to deal with them.
Thank you. We have another question for you, Abir, and it is, what do you mean by plan ahead?
I'm sorry because people are interacting me. What I meant by plan ahead is to make sure to start every day with a clear idea of what you are gonna do or what you want to do. So, or what needs to get done that day, that specific day. And to give you an advice, maybe you should consider that making it a habit. What I mean by that is that at the end of each day you should go ahead and write on your to-do list what to do for the next day, and with that way I think that you can hit the ground running the next morning, or just know how to deal with your day and how to deal with your work and give each work a specific time to work on it. That's it.
Thank you, Abir. And we have another question for you. Yes, and it is, in your opinion, what are the non-essential tasks and activities? And if you could also give like a simple definition of time management.
Well, two questions.
Yes.
That is fine. So, what I meant by the non-essential task or activities is the excess activities or tasks. What I meant by that is just to remove the work that you know that is not that important, like the Q3, not important, but not that, you know. What I meant by that is just to determine what is significant and what deserves your time, actually. And removing the non-essential tasks or activities, it just frees up more of your time, and how it gives you the opportunity to how to know to deal with your time generally, and it smartly. And if I would give a good smart definition of time management, it would be that we know that time management is not it's not just using our diary to record your task and appointments, as I said before. It is rather to set principles, to prioritize and know how you are dealing with your own skills, and that will help you, for of course, to in your future life, to know how you are dealing with your work and how you put your efforts in each work. So for me, time management, it is an art of dedicating the right amount of time to the right activity, and it is what it is. You should know how to deal with your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think with that, we're gonna end our webinar for today, because we're tight on time. And I hope you guys enjoyed and learned about time management. And I also hope that you guys could use those tips and learn about those information about time
First
management.
interrupt.
Life.
No, you hope. You have to, guys.
Yes.
because time management is the key of success.
And thank you for our guest speakers. But before we end our webinar, there's an extra question for Ms. Selma. And it is, how do you decide which tasks do you do first? So I think we might answer that question before we end our webinar.
Yes, I would be happy to ask your question.
Thank you so much.
So for my case, okay, like with this one, I'm going to give you slightly more direct advice. All things being equal, and as long as the work matter, it's best to prioritize according to urgency at first. But a systematic approach works best for me. It's in the long run because it means you eventually do work when it shows up and not when it blows up. Yeah, that's for my case. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much. And with that, we end our webinar. And thank you so much to our viewers and our guest speakers. And stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.